All right, good morning. So for this exercise, we're going to start working on something called a yield percentage. And what that means is we're going to determine how much product we have left after we prep something. So these vegetables here are the ones you're going to be using. You got a head of broccoli, cauliflower, sweet potato, zucchini, bell pepper, and onion. First step we have to do is we have to weigh everything in its raw form, or however we purchased it, and that's going to be called our as purchased quantity, and we're going to measure that in ounces. So you're going to need an ounce scale. After that, we're going to clean everything for the recipe. So like cut off the broccoli stems, take off the cauliflower stems, cut up the cauliflower, peel the sweet potato, cut up the zucchini, the bell pepper, and the onions. And each of those items, once they're cut up, we're going to put in their ounce weight on this sheet. That's where it says edible portion in ounces. And then it's a simple thing of taking our as purchased cost or as purchased quantity divided by, oh boy, this is the wrong formula here. Anyway, I will show you the math. This is the wrong formula that I put up on here. But what you're going to record is as purchased quantity, edible portion quantity. And when you divide those together, those numbers, you will end up with a yield percentage in a decimal form. Multiply it by 100. And that will tell us what our yield is for each one of these things. Okay, let me show you what it looks like. So I'm going to start off with the red bell pepper. Record my weight of the red bell pepper at 6.6 ounces. So in my as purchased quantity, I'm going to put 6.6 ounces. My red onion is 4.7. It's okay that it's only half an onion because we buy onions by the pound. So I can figure out how much that onion costs just by knowing that it's 4.7 ounces. My zucchini, 4.1. The broccoli, 12.6. The cauliflower is 1 pound, 4.8 ounces. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So 16 plus 4.8 is 20.8 ounces. And the sweet potato is 6.9. Okay, I'm going to get some things cut up and show you their edible portion. Okay, so I got my zucchini cut up. I just took the ends off and I cut it into the half moons like the recipe wants. I'm going to go ahead and put those on the scale. Uh-oh. See, I just dropped a piece on the floor. So that piece we're not going to use, so I can't count it as part of my edible portion. So you probably can't read the scale too well, but it says 3.7 ounces. Move that off of there. So we started with 3.7 ounces, and I need to run and grab a calculator real quick. Okay, so we started with 4.1 ounces of zucchini. Okay, we ended up with 3.7. So to figure out my yield percent, I take 3.7, or my edible portion, divided by my as purchased portion, which was 4.1 ounces, and that gives me a decimal 0.9024. Multiply by 100 and that says it's 90.24%. So that's what I'm going to write down in my yield portion. Our yield percentage is 90.24. So my sheet looks like that. I'm going to get the rest of the edible portions cut up on mine, and then I'll show you how to proceed from there. All right, I've got all my edible portions written out on my sheet. And I added, this isn't the wrong formula, but what you need to worry about right now is this one. So it's edible portion quantity divided by as purchased quantity equals our yield percentage. Okay, so I'll have you write that on your sheet too. So my red bell pepper was 6.6 ounces. My finished was 5.1. So on the calculator, 5.1 divided by 6.6 equals 77.27 times 100 to give me my decimal, or to give me my percentage of 77.27%. Okay, red onion, 4.1 divided by 4.7. And I just know to move, if the other thing you can do is just move the decimal 2 places to the right. So 0.87 becomes 87.23%. For the broccoli, 6.5 divided by 12.6 becomes 51.59%. For the cauliflower, 10.0 divided by 20.8 is 48.08%. And for the sweet potato, 5.7 divided by 6.9 equals 82.61%. Okay? My yields are going to be different than yours because the way you cut the vegetable is going to be different than the way I cut the vegetable. We're going to do a little comparison next week on these different yield percentages and see who potentially has the highest yield percentage for cutting certain vegetables. And then I'll show you how to figure out the rest of the stuff. So you're going to end up with a tray of vegetables like this. It's way too many vegetables, but that's okay. We'll roast it off, keep whatever we want, and then we can give the rest to somebody else. Okay? So what I recommend doing for the lab, and I'll say this again on Friday in class, write down the as purchased quantity really quick for each item, then get everything cut up, and as you get it cut up, weigh it and record the edible portion. Continue on with the recipe, and once everything's in the oven roasting, then you can go back and figure out these percentages real quick for each of your groups. All right? I hope that is clear enough. If there's questions, we'll talk about it Friday before we go to the lab. See you tomorrow.